Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brass, and today I'm going to be doing a response video to a Christian apologist that goes by the name Apologetics Squared. Now just for full disclosure, I have no particular gripe with this person as an individual. From looking through their content on both Twitter and YouTube, they seem to be well read on philosophy. That is always a welcomed thing these days. Now as a deist who believes in divine providence and upholding centuries of tradition of bashing Christian and atheist philosophy, I've decided to set my sight on the fellow apologists for their Twitter post where they gave an argument for why existence is something good. The argument goes as follows. Premise 1, it is rational to fear ceasing to exist. Premise 2, if it is rational to fear ceasing to exist, then ceasing to exist includes the loss of something good. Premise 3, ceasing to exist includes only the loss of existence. Conclusion, therefore, existence is something good. There are a number of problems with this argument from what I can see. Premise 1 can be rejected on Epicurean grounds, meaning it isn't rational to fear ceasing to exist. Epicureanism is based on the works of the ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus, whom advocated for a modified form of hedonism. He is typically brought up when discussing the problem of evil, but not in this discussion. I figured I'd get that out of the way. Now, what is my ground for saying that premise 1 isn't true based on Epicureanism? Well, Epicurus is well known by people for his thoughts on death. A quote given to him is saying, "Death is nothing to us." This has been formulated into an argument called the no subject to harm argument, that is, which goes as such. Premise 1, death is annihilation. Premise 2, the living have not yet been annihilated, otherwise they wouldn't be alive. Premise 3, death does not affect the living, follows from the first two premises. So death is not bad for the living, which follows from premise 3. Premise 5, for something to be bad for somebody, that person has to exist at least. Premise 6, the dead do not exist, from premise 1. Conclusion 1, therefore death is not bad for the dead. That follows from premise 5 and 6. And conclusion 2, therefore death is bad neither for the living or the dead. That follows from premise 4 and conclusion 1. This argument shows that it would not be rational to fear ceasing to exist, because there is literally nothing to fear. Of course, this doesn't factor in the possibility that death may not in fact be annihilation, and that things like in reincarnation or the afterlife are true, but that is sort of irrelevant to whether or not one should fear ceasing to exist, as that is a question of belief and epistemology, not about the actual soundness of the belief. Basically put, it isn't rational, even if you are a Christian or Hindu who believe in an afterlife of one kind or another, to be afraid of ceasing to exist in the event you are wrong about things, because there would be no you to fear it. I also think premise 2 of the argument this apologist gives is problematic in certain ways. To repeat that premise 2, if it is rational to fear ceasing to exist, then ceasing to exist includes the loss of something good. I believe this one confuses epistemology and ontology. It confuses the belief in X with whether or not belief in X is true or really grounded in anything. In this case, existence by itself wouldn't be the thing that would be the potential good that is lost. It would be the belief in the continued existence that would be the potential good that could be lost by having a fear of ceasing to exist. It should also be noted you can rationally be afraid of losing bad things like an abusive partner or parent. You don't like being alone and facing the other negative side effects of not having people by your side, so you accept mistreatment. This is perfectly rational in the sense that if being alone or being without parents or being without a partner is your greatest fear, it follows you should avoid being alone and the like. In that scenario, you are more or less making a trade-off in happiness, which does rebut the notion that fearing something means you are fearing losing something good, as bad partners and parents aren't good. So really, that is my objections to the Twitter comment. I hope you all enjoyed. This is Mr. Brass saying goodbye and get wise.